Welcome to Open Window Politics. Today we're going to be going through each of the swing states during the 2024 election. I'll be giving you guys my prediction on which way I think they will go for whether or not it be, in this case, we're going to be working with Biden and Trump as the respective Democratic and Republican nominees, because that at the moment seems to be the most likely situation. We'll be going through each of these swing states, and I'll be letting you guys know by which margin they will be going to the respective party they vote for. So we'll start out with Wisconsin in this case. So Wisconsin is going to certainly be a swing state. They recently had a Supreme Court election in which the Democrat or the pro-choice judge was able to do quite well, was able to win the election by a wide margin. And so I do think, and the polls back this claim up, the more recent ones have Biden up by a few points. I am certainly doubtful it'll be a 9-point margin. I think it'll be pretty slim margin, regardless of who wins it. I think DeSantis might be able to do a little better than Trump in pretty much all of these swing states, but for the time being, I do think that if it were between Biden and Trump, that Wisconsin would probably go to the Democrat by a small margin. I doubt it would be anything huge, but I think it would narrowly go to Biden. Next up, we have, we'll go to Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania is, of course, quite the swing state. It's got quite a few electoral college votes, so it's an important prize for either candidate to win. And it's the polling, according to 538, has Biden up on average just by a very, very small margin, according to the most recent poll from August 20th. So it's a little dated, but I do think that it'll probably be about a 1-point margin, regardless of whether or not it goes to Biden or Trump. But in this case, I do think it'll go to Biden by a small margin. Generally, the Rust Belt, those three states, the Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, generally end up voting together. And it gives, in this case, Biden 270 votes. Next up, we'll be going to Nevada. I do think Nevada is going to be a close one for sure. I think it will narrowly go to the Republican candidate. It might be a little, I think that DeSantis would do much better in Nevada than Trump will, but I do think that it's going to be a lean margin, but according to the polling, it's quite a close margin. But as I mentioned, even this Republican-led pollster shows that DeSantis is up by 2 and Biden is up by 4 in this matchup. So I do think it's going to be narrow, but I do believe that likely in the end it'll go towards Biden. So I'm going to switch that characteristic towards Biden. And next up, we have the state of Arizona. Arizona is going to be really close. It was recently went to the Democratic Party in the 2020 election, but has not done that in quite a while. According to the more recent polls, things, of course, will likely change, but Trump is up by 1 or 2 points in Arizona, and the Senate race is going to be particularly interesting. Has 3 candidates instead of the usual 2. You have the independent of Kirsten Sinema running, and I do think that the Senate election will most likely go to the Democrat, especially if Sinema is in the race. It seems as though that kind of, the impact of that on the race will help the Democrat win, but there are certainly a lot of possibilities. But I do think on the presidential level of Trump versus Biden, that Arizona will likely narrowly go towards the Republican Party, in this case Trump. Things might change. It's very possible it ends up going towards the Democratic Party, but I think for the time being, that's the more likely story. And next up, we'll go to the state of Georgia, which was an incredibly close call state during the 2020 election. And the numbers here are, as usual for these swing states, pretty close. Generally, 1 or 2 candidates are up by either 1 or 2 points. So I do think that because it was such a narrow margin, that it's going to be close last time, just like it will be in 2024. But I do think that the state will narrowly go towards the Democratic Party. I think it'll be possibly the closest state during the 2024 election, But I do think that their election of all Democratic senators, as well as supporting Biden in the 2020 election, proves that they are on a Democratic trajectory and will likely support Biden again in the 2024 election. Feel free to let me know if you have any comments. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my characterizations,